Hello and welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week's edition of the program, we'll be focusing on the need for training and retraining of workers in the union. We will be right back. Members of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) picketed the headquarters of Lamberts Electromag in Ikoyi, Lagos. This followed refusal of the company to obey the more than 2-year ruling of the Industrial Arbitration Panel regarding unionization of workers at the company.
Recognition of the union as the legitimate organization to represent the interests of the workers as enshrined in the law, the Trade Unions Amendment Act 2005. Again, we have on ground current time JIC collective agreement, which is signed by employers of labor in the industry. So it covers all employees and employers in the industry.
And so every organization that understands what the union stands for will not be averse to the union, but will rather welcome the union with both hands. And that is what we are preaching to most of the organizations to understand. And that is why we bring them to seminars and workshops, interactive sessions, so that they will understand what the union is all about, so that that misconception will be corrected. And that is where we are. And so we urge all unions, all managements, wherever they may be, to begin to see union as part of the tools that they need to organize, to make their workplaces more productive.
Reacting to the protest by the workers, representative of Lamberts Electromag said the company has agreed to allow workers belong to the Steel and Engineering Workers Union of Nigeria.
Lamberts Electromag is a law-abiding corporate citizen and will continue to be law-abiding, which is why we have decided to take the part of peace to ensure that it's a win-win for all parties. You can see now the issues have been virtually resolved and they are on their way out. We recognize them as a union in this industry, and they can carry on with their activities, and we have signed terms to that effect.
Sharon Ijason, TVC News.
We have removed one vestige of oppression.
The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), Ayuba Waba, has stressed the need for decent work for citizens towards advancing national development in the country. Waba spoke at the 18th NLC Rain School training held in Akwa Ibom State with the theme Labour, Politics for National Development and Social Justice in Nigeria.
The governor of Akwa Ibom State.
He urged workers to participate actively in politics as a way of effective positive change in the country and better welfare for citizens.
Whether we like it or not, politics, as is well known, is activities associated with governance. And basically, our country is now in the midst of political activities, and a lot of attention is being diverted from the core issues that ought to drive development. Issues confronting the working class, issues confronting the larger polity. The Nigerian ruling elite, and I refer to them as the looting class, have survived primarily by dividing us, the working class, on the basis of many primordial interests. Of recent, you must have heard, on the basis of tribe or religion. But I'm happy that the labor movement and NLC is one pan-Nigerian organization that have remained very united and have continued to unite Nigerians.
Other stakeholders spoke about the strength of labor movement and the need for workers to be more politically conscious towards making impact in the society.
This will provide a forum for trade unionists and activists to network, share ideas, and deliberate on the nexus between social justice, labor, politics, and national development. Also to identify and develop trade union strategies for effective engagement and participation in the national development processes in Nigeria. Conclude by reiterating ILO readiness to work with you, to work with the NLC leadership, to work with the government and all social partners in Nigeria in addressing the labor market challenges facing the country today.
We give special appreciation to the National President of Nigeria Lamberts and his team in the Education Department, who has found it necessary to give us this important training. And therefore, when we look around the enormous resources that have been committed into this program, I want to encourage all of you to take it very seriously and ensure that the knowledge you gain is going to be the train-the-trainer program as you put it down the line of our rounds and file. It is expected that those that have passed through the Ren School and the Amateur School should go about understanding the labor movement at its highest level and then also putting their best to ensure that Nigerian workers are one.
Following different reactions from the Rain School training, bordering on gender, organization, and others, it can be deduced that workers across the country are in great anticipation for the 2023 general election.
Every human being is a political animal, and workers cannot be different and cannot be outside this cycle. Therefore, being politically conscious is something that should be of everybody's interest. Therefore, we've been mobilizing workers to be conscious of their rights and their privileges. What we are going through in this country today has clearly shown the need for people to take their destinies into their hands. And NLC, being a platform, has now come to conscientize the working public, to tell them that there is need to identify people that can do the work, the need for people to identify people who have the intellect, what it takes, the energy to put into that work.
We know that labor creates wealth, and what generally we are agitating for is that the wealth should be equally distributed. So, and there's need for the working class to be educated, to know their role in making sure that that wealth is proportionally distributed. And that is one of the essence of the NLC schools, to build a workforce that is conscious of their society, conscious of the economy.
Every effort by the working people to have things done rightly had fallen into the wrong hands of wrong leadership. So clearly, we know we can't stand aloof anymore. We know we can't be disinterested anymore. We know we can't watch TV or fetch water while election is going on. We now know that we must be part of it to put those that we know have conscience. We feel we can be in a position to put people who will respect advice.
On the profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the National President of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Comrade Adeyanju. He brings us up to speed on several challenges workers in the maritime sector is faced with and what the union is doing to ensure that workers in the industry have a better welfare package. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
A lot has been happening in the maritime sector, and I remember very clearly that there was a time that the union insisted that the government needs to revisit the scrapping of dockworkers and seafarers pool, and this would definitely increase security and safety on board. Can you bring us up to speed on if there is any development as regards this request to the government?
Thank you for having me on your program. I think it's unfortunate that governments do regulated activities in the wrong manner sometimes. The former MD of MPA, which I will mention his name, respect to him, was the cause of this problem of scrapping the onboard tally class and security men The tally class play a very significant role in terms of revenue generation to take statistics of any cargoes coming in on board the vessel and coming in and going out of the vessel, both including that of exports. As it is now, who is taking records of all those cargo in Nigeria today? And why scrapping the tally class on board security men? And who is taking the records, like I said? So, and the union is clamoring for revisiting the tally class and onboard security men by bringing them back. It's going to be of a great value to Nigeria economy, because as it is now, they are losing a lot of revenue in terms of throughput coming out on board the vessels every day, both day in and day out, import and export, because that's their role. They tally physically and they give accurate records of what happened on board the vessel, both import and export. So we are telling the government that there's need for them to revisit this tally class on board security men and bringing them back. And if you look at onboard security men too, they play a very good significant role. They are the one identifying both the visitors on board the vessel, coming in and bringing some dangerous weapon on board the vessel, not allow some people that have no business doing on board the vessel. That is their job. And onboard women all over the world is being recognized, because there's no how a visitor will climb a vessel without being checked. They need to check you. What's your business on board the vessel? Do you have any business doing with the captain or whatever? But as it is now, it will be given to private hands. That's, I can say, the terminal operators. They are the one putting the security of their job. They are not professional. That's the way I'm going to say it. Because the NEMASA, who happen to be the regulating agent, supposed to even sanction all the terminal operators and some of the shipping companies that are using illegal security men against the registered onboard women that was registered officially by government. So it has a lot of advantage than disadvantage. The government is doing a lot of revenue in terms of having scrapping tally clerks not to work on board the vessel again. And who is taking the record? Like I said earlier on, nobody. So they have now left it in the hands of the terminal operators, who are supposed to have engaged the tally clerks and onboard security men.
So do you think this was going to reduce workers in port? If that is so, don't you think it's creating more risk for the port?
It is because those guys they laid off, they almost 1,500 workers that were laid off almost 2 or 3 years ago. We've been on top of this matter. The former MD of MPA, the respected former MD of MPA, Adeyanju Bala Usman, was able to even pay a lot of the backlog arrears involving those tally class and onboard security men. With this present MD of MPA, they sacrifice a lot of energy by way of getting the money, the stipend they pay to them, which I think we commend them, we commend that woman, we commend the present MD of MP as well. But what we are saying is that they need to bring them back, try to reorganize them to a standard through NEMASA, because all the registered dock workers or whatever, all the port workers that are working in the port, they are under the auspices of NEMASA, who happen to be the regulating agent, who register both the unregistered one or registered one. So, but now everybody are running away of not even accommodating the tally class and onboard security men again, which I think they form the integral part of dock workers. It has affected the dock workers per se, because they have no job for the past 4 or 5 years now. They've been roaming about the streets since they pay them off. And that is why the union have been crying to all the stakeholders that there's need for them to allow them to come back. It will create more employment for Nigerians. They spread all over the port. They're in Port Harcourt, they're in Warri, they're in Calabar. And then when you lay them off, what happened to their families? And that is what we are saying, so that they should do the needful by way of reconsidering their positions about the tally class and onboard security men.
Talking about collective bargaining agreement, recently the union embarked on a 3-day warning strike. Although it's been called off, can you bring us up to speed on what's been your experience as the president of the union as regards ensuring that your members get a better package, looking at the fact that right now inflation is high in the country, and to get a living wage, definitely this kind of agreement has to be updated from time to time?
Well, I think it is not bread and butter to get something from these multinational companies. Not only that, average businessman will always try to maximize profits at the expense of the poor workers by telling the whole world that they are not even making anything. So, but the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, we have a mechanism that we normally use in getting something better for our members. We put everything on the table, and we expected the management as well to do the same. Yes, APMT Terminal, who happen to be one of the multinational companies all over the world, I think the style of administration of this present administration of APMT, we believe is very harsh. They are not following the rules entails in the CBA. The union cannot just go on work stoppage without not declaring trade dispute against and hearing terminal operators or any management. So we issued out ultimatum, and they were adamant, and they have no regard for their employee. So we found out that the only option, the best option for us, is to register our annoyance that there was deadlock at the meeting, and I think we're able to get something better than before for the workers in APMT. But the issue of outsourcing is always the problem in the port today, where somebody has been a permanent staff in the same port, in the same company, and because you want to maximize profit, you now outsource part of your job to private hands. I think that is the problem in APMT, because majority of the workers of APMT, they have been on permanent employment, giving them salary, but what happened was that they deceived all the workers in APMT while they liquidated their gratuity. And when they liquidate their gratuity, what are they going to fall back when they retire? You can imagine somebody retiring in APMT is 500,000 naira. And we are now saying, no, that will not happen. And what we did was to have what we call revolving money, revolving between the workers and that of the management, to replace the gratuity that was collapsed. So, and we felt there's need for them to change the narrative by way of increasing or adjusting that retirement benefit. But they said no, they cannot, that is the standard laid down. And I said, well, if the standard is being laid down, there's need for you to review it upward and downward. So, and I think we're able to get something at the back of the crisis, and we're going to manage it for now. But the issue of outsourcing is still the order of the day, where the salary of those former workers at least supposed to be partly with the old workers, because they benefited from the past, but you now outsource them to another company. I think that's why we're having issues. And the union now is saying no to that, because it will be outsourced. Yes, fine. There's no big deal about that. But the workers of the salaries, their salaries should be what? Commensurate with their colleagues, that they are formerly a staff under you before you outsource them to another contractors. So I believe that is what caused the disagreement in our negotiation, and that is what made the union to say, okay, fine, since they are not ready to comply with the ultimatum, and I believe every stakeholders intervened, and were able to allow peace to reign.
But would you say that you've been able to get fair wage for your members across board?
I cannot say it's fair wage, but all I know is that there's we've gotten something a little bit better than before. We've got something a little bit better than before, where for the past years in APMT, they subjected the workers to 5%, 2%, 7%, 8% in a year. So, and this time around, what we did was to say, no way, there's no how you're going to deceive us. Because APMT all over the world, they are international, they are multinationals, and they make a lot of money. We don't know their purse, but the workers that are working there, they were able to establish that these people are making hell of money. But it's okay, encourage the workers, empower them, give them what belongs to them. And they said no, they cannot, because they still believe we are still living in the past. So, and there's no how we will continue with that kind of style. So, what we have gotten now, I cannot tell you whether we are okay or not, but I can say averagely, we are getting something better.
Talking about biometric ID card, recently you informed us that there would be that identification of those that have business in the port. Can you bring us up to speed on this? What's the development? Should there be a time that members should be expecting this ID card? And what are the advantages of having biometric card for members?
I think the biometric ID card for dock workers, like we have been told, is ready. Letter of invite was sent to us about 3 weeks ago, but something happened at the back of it, where the terminal they were about using to flag it off was later denied them of having access to the terminal. So that's what delayed it. So I think biometric ID card for dock workers in the port have advantage, and the advantage is very enormous. Is to identify who are the real dock workers in the port. If I don't have any business doing in the port, why did I gain access to it? And this present biometric ID card they have issued out now, I think it covers all their database, the family, next of kin, and all the rest of. Unlike the one that was given in the past, it's like an empty biometric ID card. But the present biometric card is, I can say, is good. I've not seen it, but I believe it is good like this because they take records of all the family background, the next of kin, and all the rest of it. So we are waiting for them to convey the meeting. You know, government bureaucracy is, they can be funny. 3 weeks now, we've not heard from them. Maybe they're still going to get order from presidency before they call us for another meeting.
Recently, the union announced that it's no longer part of the Maritime Transport Union. Is there any reason why this announcement was made?
Well, I think the port is very big, very large to accommodate associations and the union. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, we are organized labor, and we believe in principle and the rule of law. And the majority of people in Comtour, some of them are employers of labor, they are equally than associations. And their mindset is different from ours. In fact, there's no need to continue working with people who are employers of labor and they are businessmen. So, and the workers have seen us as if, why do we drag them into alliance with Comtour? I was one of the founding fathers of Comtour. We play a very good role, significant role, in order for us to support the policy of Nigeria Port Authority. But when we found that some of our members in the collaborations, they were against the policy of Nigeria Port Authority, and I'm representing well over 400,000 to 500,000 workers across the port. So I can't be sitting down where petition upon petition will be flying against the employers of labor, whereas if whatever petition that comes out, they will be believing the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria are part of it. And I'm representing Nigeria Port Authority, the shipping branch, the seafarers, and that of the dock workers, being regulated by government. So we have to look at it and see how we can manage our collaboration. But at the end of the day, it doesn't work. But our door is open for consequent collaborations if they change their mind to be of a good ambassador in the port. because the way it is, we are not fighting them, they are brothers, they are friends, but there's no how we're going to work together in terms of the policy being executed by government. And because before they executed any government, any policy, the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria will be carried along. For example, the A2. All of us supported A2. And it has brought insanity in terms of trafficking on the road or whatever. It has brought sanity. But in collaborations with COMTWA, some of them kick against A2. So who am I and who are we, the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, to kick against what is going to help our members to get jobs? Because if the traffic is blocked, inside port, there won't be any job for our members. So the marriage of convenience cannot just continue. And if the marriage cannot continue, what you need to do is to what? Is to call it bye-bye. So, and if you have a wife that is giving you problem, and at the end of the day you marry another one, you don't know her characters. So that is what made us to say, okay, there's no need for us to continue with that marriage. But we are still partners in progress. Whatever that happened, they always call us. We can still talk as a friend, as a brother. So that's just it.
Thank you very much for your time, Sam.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijason. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.